You know, guys, usually when we go on these first drive programs, the manufacturer sets up a course that they know the vehicle will do. But having been on over a dozen of these, I have to tell you, that is one of the hardest courses I've seen. It's rocky, it's steep, and the question, of course, is, how will this brand new 2018 Jeep Wrangler JL Rubicon do off-road? Well, only one way to find out, and that is to get behind the wheel, start it up, and take on the course. Oh yeah, there's also one surprise I gotta show you. And it is surprising.
Okay, that was amazing.
Good job, Andre.
But you know what happened?
What?
We broke the clampy.
Clampy, huh?
Our GoPro.
So the only thing that broke was...
it actually didn't even break.
Can you fix
it?
Yay, we're back in business. Now, I promised you guys a surprise, and there's a big one under the hood. But let's start with these hood latches. They're newly redesigned, and the reason they redesigned them is if you had an old JK and you started driving, the hood would flutter. No more. That's all gone. But what's really surprising is that, check it out, it's a 2-liter turbo that's a mild hybrid. Puts out 270 horsepower and 295 pound-foot of torque, and it's made it to a brand new 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, the 3.6 Pentastar is still available, but I like this 2-liter. So guys, here's the deal. There's an embargo until December 13th, but we always like to be first, so while I can't tell you how it drives, I can show you how it drives. So let's cue the music and watch how this thing goes up a very steep and rocky hill. That's why it's clad, so we got underbody protection. Perhaps the best way to show you the difference between the old and the new is to park them next to each other. So here we have the JK and here we have the JL. Do you see the difference? Sure, there is a 7-slotted grille, but of course they've moved the marker lights out here into the fender. The fender is much higher. The headlights are different. I love this bar that they've put across it. And perhaps most importantly, there's a little bit of a waterfall now on the front of the new JL, reminiscent of previous Jeeps. So from afar, they look very similar, but when you get up close, they are very different indeed, or at least as different as a Jeep Wrangler can be. How's this thing doing? I can't really tell you, but hopefully you guys are getting a sense of it by watching the video. And you know, it's really hard to design a vehicle that is both on-road worthy and off-road worthy, because what you need to be good on-road is the exact opposite that you need to be good off-road. So high center of gravity, good approach angles, all that makes the car kind of squirrely on-road. Thank you very much. So what's changed on this JL Wrangler? Everything. It's a brand new vehicle from the ground up, starting with better approach, departure, and breakover angles. 44 degrees, 37 and 28 breakover. Now, you'll note that these tires are also new. We've gone from mud terrains to all terrains. These are 33 straight from the factory, but this fender now is 2 inches higher, which means that you can put up to 35s under here without doing any lifting whatsoever. So what makes a car on-road worthy is the exact opposite of what makes it off-road worthy. So it's a real hard compromise to strike to be able to get a vehicle, in this case a Wrangler, to be good both on-road and off-road. Yeah, I love those headlights. Just like I was telling you, you know that's a Wrangler from a mile away. Now there are different top options. These are of course the traditional Freedom tops, which Jeep says they've redesigned, made it easier to use. There's also a new and redesigned soft top, which just pulls back in one easy stroke. And of course my favorite in the Sahara. Well, let me show you that one. If you guys have a current Wrangler, you'll know that it's got Freedom tops. Now, look at this. No longer do you have to fuss with those cumbersome and big Freedom tops. At up to 60 miles an hour, you can open the top of this Jeep with just a push of a button, and you get a complete and huge panoramic sunroof. This is an option, of course, that's available on this Sahara and Rubicon models, but I gotta tell you, compared to the Freedom tops, this is just so much better. This new Wrangler JL video is brought to you by our friends at Best Top, because Best Top and Jeep go together like peanut butter and jelly. I mean, they've been the exclusive provider of soft tops to Jeep for more than 30 years. If you need a new premium soft top or other upgrade for your Wrangler, like power running boards, doors, or bikinis, visit Best Top by clicking on the link below and check them out. Let's talk trim levels. They basically haven't changed. The base model is a Sport, then you go to the Sport S, then you go to the Sahara, which of course is more of the city slicker version with much less off-road worthy wheels. And then there's of course this Rubicon, the top level. Now, pricing has not yet been officially announced, but I'm betting it's going to be more expensive than the outgoing model. How much? You'll have to come back on the 13th to find out. This Jeep is now not only taller, 10.9 inches of ground clearance, but longer, 2.5 inches, which gives you an extra inch of legroom in the back and gives you a little bit more room in the front. Now they've kept the traditional Jeep iconic features like the removable doors, which now close on their own, and get this, you can still lower the front windscreen. It used to take about an hour and a half if you had a garage and all the tools. Now it takes about 5 minutes. Only 4 bolts hold this windscreen from being able to fold down. One of my favorite features of the new Wrangler has to be the interior. It is head and shoulders above the old one. It is industrial, it is sexy, it is stylish, it is modern, it is rugged, everything you want a Wrangler to be, but it is also thoughtful. And let me show you what I mean by that. Here's the key. There's now a key holder right there. How about a phone? Phone holder right there. Look at this big burly shift lever. And just like a Raptor, we've got not 1 but 4 auxiliary buttons. So when you add those LEDs to the front or a winch, there it is right there. You can turn them on and off. There's also plenty of new places to plug in your phone. Here, 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 and the 4th generation of FCA's Uconnect system that FCA says is 4 times faster. And you know what? I use a lot of these systems, and this has got to be one of my favorites. So now that the newest and greatest version is in the Wrangler, it puts a big smile on my face. When you go off-roading like this, especially on rocks like this, you are going to hit. That's just part of the game. And if the vehicle is designed for going off-road, then there's skid plating under all the crucial bits and parts, like the fuel tank. Of course, the part that hits the lowest is the pumpkin. And that's a pretty big piece of metal. Oftentimes they'll protect it, but oftentimes it won't be protected. But the Jeep, of course, has rock rails to keep the side of the Jeep kind of skidding across the rock. Starting the first quarter of 2018, this Wrangler will be available for you to purchase with the 3.6-liter Pentastar. Now, a few months later, you'll be able to get this 2-liter turbo, which is a mild hybrid 48-volt system. Then next year, the one you've all been waiting for, that's right, the 3-liter Eco Diesel. That'll be the top-of-the-line model. And at the LA Auto Show, they actually announced that there will be a plug-in hybrid in 2020. So not 1, not 2, but 4 powertrains coming eventually to the new Wrangler. Can you tell the differences in the back end of the new JL? Well, first and foremost, they moved the wiper motor to the bottom, giving you a much better view out the back. They've also moved the plate holder down here, and they've put a backup camera into the center of the spare tire. Now, fuel economy numbers for this 2-liter have not yet been announced. They're in fact still testing it. The Wrangler has shed 200 pounds. The hood, the doors are aluminum. The frame is lighter, and the fuel economy is better. 18 in the city with the 3.6-liter Pentastar, 23 on the highway, and 20 combined. That's not bad for basically a box on wheels. Here are some fun Wrangler facts. They're sold in about 150 countries around the world, and last year they sold about 250,000. Of course, every Wrangler is built right here in America in Toledo, Ohio, and perhaps the most important fact is that without this vehicle, there really would be no Jeep, because this is the heart, the DNA of the brand. You guys probably know this, most Wranglers are sold as 4 doors with an automatic transmission, but 15% are sold with a manual, and I'm a big fan of manuals. And this is a brand new 6-speed manual transmission with short throws, and it doesn't shake like the old one. Remember, the old one was this big, long lever. This one, nice and short. Now, obviously, there are 2 very important things I haven't been able to tell you about this Jeep: how much it costs and how it drives. But I have asked Jeep to lend us this Jeep to drive from here in Tucson all the way up to Colorado for a complete and epic road trip review in 2 weeks when the embargo lifts. So keep your fingers crossed. And until then, as always, it's Roman reporting for the Fastlane Car. Check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course, Wrangler, JL, Rubicon, first drive reviews. And yeah, just keep your fingers crossed, because I really want to drive this thing back to Colorado.